how's the week been so far?
It's been excellent. Monday there was a real buoyancy to what we did. We shut the Wycombe game down, where we could have done better, where we needed to improve, and there were some positives to come out of that. Once we'd sort of descaled it and had a look at how we wanted to set up, and the game plan, it didn't go to where I wanted it to on Saturday, but the lads were in receipt of that on Monday, and as a coaching team, we really got to grips with what we should have done and could have done better. So it was a real improvement day Monday, but the training ground was full of energy and buoyancy, which is what I want on a Monday. Whatever the result, because you can only learn from that result. You can't really dwell on it too much, but we've got a staff and a group of players that want to learn from it. So it was excellent. And then we took the team and the youth team and everyone, all the staff, over to Man United yesterday to have a learning day, and it was just incredible. Behind closed doors game. And they had some of the top players playing, and we learned a hell of a lot about ourselves and about how we can improve and get better, and the energy and the efficiency that them guys play with, and the ball speed and tempo is something that I want all the club to aspire to. That's why we took everyone over, all the academy staff, the full hit, and it was just a brilliant day, inspirational, and if you're a good learner, you can take a lot out of it. And I think the players, this group of players, they want to get better. There's no doubt about that. My staff want to get better. So it's been, 2 fantastic days. So just looking forward to this morning's work in preparation for Carlisle.
So having had some time to reflect on Saturday's game, has your opinion changed on it?
A little bit. I thought it was full of low quality. It was a poor quality game. Balls in the air too much. But we had bouts of quality, and when we relaxed and when we took a breath and got the ball down, we've created some fantastic chances, and I do believe if Danny Mayer would have scored the one where the keeper's pulled a fantastic save. He started with Pablo into Tutti, reverse pass by Lowy, back into Tutti, a little slide pass for Danny Mayer. It would have been a fantastic goal, but I look at the resolve and the quality on shore from a defensive aspect, and to keep a clean sheet there again was positive. So you're looking at the work Wycombe have done this season and their form. They're a good outfit, and they're an outfit that will cause a lot of problems, down at Wycombe. And they only caused us a couple of problems later on, which I was quite pleased about. It was a lot of hustle and bustle first half, and I think out of that now we've understood if we can just take that little bit of steam out of the game, we can play through teams like Wycombe.
So how are we with injuries after Saturday? Did we come out unscathed?
It was good, yeah. We got Platty played yesterday for the first time this season, so Platty's come through that. Nards and Calvin went for the follow-up injections, so now they're in a better place. They should be available for selection Saturday if it all goes to plan with what we've done. So it's starting looking a lot stronger from a squad point of view, but we've been waiting on them injuries. The good players and the good people to have back in and around the team and in the squad, leading, and hopefully if we can get them boys back, it just fills the squad up to a good ratio.
Obviously Notes was at the side on Saturday against Wycombe. Was that something that we missed, his presence within the team? You're
going to do, Notes, he's 35, 38 games he's played for us, over the last season and this season, and he's an outstanding performer. He really is. He's took the captaincy role to a different level. He's took the captaincy role on, and really you miss him. Well, he come down to Wycombe, he's come down to the training ground, but still there's bouts of it where he's been out of sort of the eyesight, and you do miss him, you do, and he's a thinker, but on the pitch he's a leader, and he loves leading by performance, and you're going to miss a player of Notes' magnitude. He's been brought here to do a certain job, and he wasn't on it, but the lads who stood in did fantastic. It was great to see Cam and Pabs. I thought they were outstanding on Saturday. They really generalled and marshalled the team brilliantly, and in Notes' absence, Cam's just growing, and it gives Pabs an opportunity to lead Cameron, and I thought they were fantastic.
So on Friday as well, before the Wycombe game, it was the England Holland under 18 game here at the Judy Stadium. Was there anything that you took from that to take into Saturday's game?
Yeah, it was brilliant. You know, I looked at, well, you look at the future of England and you look at the future of that team. I think they were the under-17s champions. I believe it were men against boys. You know, it wasn't just a real English get in your face performance. They were physically better, they were physically stronger, and physically more demanding. But technically on the ball and the game management and the game knowledge and know-how was excellent as well. So, you know, I think we've got some good players in that team. And when you look at what they did against Holland, there was only one team that was ever really going to win that game. I think what it's probably give us a bigger picture than just, you know, Saturday and the short term. I think when I look at the academy now and when I look at the profile of players that have got to come through, you know, we have got to maybe look at a slightly different DNA profile, because if that's the future of England and the future of England football, then, you know, it's looking strong, it's looking powerful, it's looking dynamic. And you know, if we've got kids who can't come up to them levels, then, you know, we need to be very honest as a football club and make sure that we do right by our recruitment and our structure, because it's really important that we get the whole club function as one, and we're certainly making massive strides in that.
So looking forward to the game on Saturday against Carlisle. They've had quite a tough start at the bottom of the league nearly, and no manager at the moment. Does that make your job any harder or easier going into that game with the expectations that lie on us to perhaps go and get all 3 points?
I think the expectation from media, from the fans, from the players, from the management is to win every game. You know, that'll be no different. It was no different last season. We had to win more games, obviously, to stay in the league. This season is a different pressure, but it's a fantastic pressure to have. You know, the players have embraced it. And you know, Carlisle's another opportunities for us to go and be very, very competitive, to be able to pit our wits against, you know, a League One team last season. You know, there's no doubt about that. Carlisle are a big football club. I've always enjoyed going to Carlisle and seeing how they do things there. You know, it's been a very professionally run club, and a club that over the last probably 12 months has found it difficult, you know, getting relegated and that. You know, Graham Kavanagh, there's no other manager out there that works as hard as what Cav did, and sometimes you just don't get the breaks that you need. And you know, the two lads who are in charge now, I'm not too sure if they want the job or if they've got a chance of getting the job, but certainly they've steadied the ship. I went to see them against Accrington, where they edged out Accrington in the JTP, and they got, you know, a credible draw. So they've probably put themselves in the shop window, but then there's talk of another manager coming in this week, so we don't know what it's going to be. And I think when it is like that, then you've just got to concentrate on what we do. You've got to concentrate on the effect that we can have on that team, and that's what we've been working on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, how we can be effective against Carlisle, and how we can be really productive, and how we can, you know, reach high standards. That's the one thing that, you know, I really want to reach, consistently high standards. So that's what the players are in receipt of, and I'm after a real driven performance on Saturday. Okay.
You mentioned about Keil O'Brien. What was the actual injury that he received?
He's got it's a medial cartilage injury, so he's got the left side of his knee. He's just got a slight tear in that. He's actually getting operated this morning. Okay. So they just, it's a very procedure operation. It's probably 3 weeks to sort of get back into a good intensity training, and then probably 6 weeks away from him playing. So we've had the scans done on it, waited for it to settle down and the swelling to go. Had the scans done on it, and he's going to see us. He's actually probably getting operated on as we speak.
All right, okay. So just to clarify, it's Nards and Platty that might be near to selection.
Nards and Platty,
yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
You mentioned that you might be interested in getting some sort of cover for Keil. Is that still your mindset?
Potentially. You know, these youth loans that you can dip into, and that's a situation that I might explore. We've got a couple of options, but at the minute, we've not had to move on it. We wanted to see the diagnosis of Keil. Sometimes with that injury, you can just about get away with it, depending on the grade of the tear. Yeah. So it was only yesterday that we've got the notification that it's an operation. So I didn't want to move on it before that. But like I always do, And like we always plan here, we won't be rushing into anything. We've got a strategy meeting next week with the whole team in terms of the chair and the structure that we have to look at where we're at and the story so far. So we'll probably plan that for next week and then and see what's about. But there's a real meticulous detail planning into who comes into the building, and we'll probably know more after Saturday's game, depending on how Nards comes through and how Platty comes through this week. So we've got it's a good week for us to know where we're at and get in front of ourselves.
I suppose with the timing of the loans that you've got available, you don't want to sort of rush into that as well, considering
you don't need to. You don't need to. We've worked really hard over the summer to build a structural squad, a really well balanced squad for playing a couple of different systems. So there's no need to rush in, and we had some really good feedback from Man United yesterday on what we were trying to do as a football club, which stands in for good stead, in the future. So, we're good where we're at. We're in a good place, and it's just now ready to make sure that if we're going to bring someone in, it's the right calibre and right person.
Mm-hmm. One last question, and I'm just interested really with the Dutch theme of the week, actually, with the England game and then going to Man United. I know that you've got obviously a big interest in the way that the Dutch have done things in the past. Is that something that you've sort of been looking at this week as well, with an interest at United and Holland? I
don't know. I think as a coach, you've got to look at what Chile's doing at the minute. The Chilean team is everything that represents what I love as a coach. The intensity, the drive, the philosophy they've got. So I think it changes. It does change. The Spanish way was quite incredible what they achieved, but the Dutch have had a long-term plan, and they've always stuck to a long-term plan. But I think when I go down to the real young boys, then the Dutch teaching is potentially the best in the world. But I think at some phase it does change. Then it does change, and you look at the German mentality and the German way of winning's everything. Is key. It'd be nice to fuse, to be honest. It'd be nice to have a fusion of quite a few different nationalities, because I think everyone's got a certain strength, and if you could fuse certainly different international flavours, you'd make one hell of a philosophy. But it'd be nice to understand what the English way is and it's going to be, and I think we went down a spell looking at sitting deep and counter-attacking, but we're English. I do believe that we've got enough about us to go and attack teams. Like I saw the England team the other night, there was penetration, there was power, there was pace, but there was a real understanding of football, and it was brilliant to see,
Okay. Right.
Just saying, when you saw the England team the other night, you said sort of that you can kind of see a change almost at a youth level. What do you sort of mean by that?
I think probably the game, there was a confidence, there was an air of confidence, but I think it come from the dynamic power. We look physically stronger than them, and that gives you that confidence, to go and outrun teams. I think the great thing we've never been able to do in English football is outthink teams, and I saw a very good thought plan, coming from the coaching team. You could see that there's a well-directed plan. They had better players. England had better players than Holland. I do believe that's a fact, on the night, what I saw as a football, in my football opinion. But I think the way that they owned the game and controlled the game, and then dominated the game in terms of penetrating and trying to hurt them, barring a couple of interceptions from the keeper, it could have been, a real big scoreline. So it was great to see, group of, and I think the striker who plays for Chelsea is only 16. There was a few 16-year-olds on shore. So you hope that the national team is with that group of players coming through. He's going to show some dividends. But certainly to watch it as an Englishman outrun, you expect English teams to be powerful, but I saw power and technical detail and style on show, which was encouraging.
And just on the senior England team, obviously John Stones made his competitive debut. You worked with him at Barnes, he must be immensely proud.
Ridiculously proud. He was. It was fantastic, John's development, and when we first went in there, as a 17-year-old, you could see he had something different. We moved him into the first team arena. It took him quite a long time for him to settle and to improve, but he worked with Guy Proctor, our strength coach here now, all the summer, and he was the one. And we got a phone call of Guy midway through the programme, and he just said, "Wow, we have got one hell of a player. He's leading the march, leading the first team players." never say die attitude, and he just wants to be the best. He genuinely wants to be the best. He doesn't leave a stone unturned, and he's just one of them players that, you know, when you want good things to happen to a person, it's John Stones. You know, I used to take him to Man United games, watch Vidic, watch live football with him, make him understand the game. He loves watching live football. You know, we have got an absolute immense talent on our hands, and I think going to Everton was the right move. You know, at the time Wigan was in, when Robbie was there, but going to the Everton and being taught by Robbie and the way he does things is just England's gain. You know, if you can spend game time and coaching time with Roberto and Graham Jones down there, then England's going to benefit from that, the way they teach football to be played and teach footballers. But I think what he got at Barnsley was being part of a tough culture, you know, and he's got that. He's got the mental strength, he's got the mental toughness, and Barnsley was a great stepping stone. You know, the Championship is a relentless place to play football as an 18, 19-year-old, and Stonesy developed probably his mental strength and mental toughness there. What he's developing now at Everton is the technical side, the tactical side, and he's one of the best learners I've worked with. You know, you can give him a different change of tactic, a different plan, and he'll go out and execute it. A fantastic person, and we're lucky to have him in the England setup so soon.
Do you see him as a sort of a right back or centre back sort of moving?
I think if he played in the three, right side centre half, he would excel at that. A wing back, he was outstanding for me as a wing back, and I mean outstanding. As a right back, you know, you'll never get a player that wants to defend as much as he does, but then go and attack and go and get on the overload and overlap. But I think with him playing three different positions, I just think it'll help his development and it'll help him as a player. You know, and then eventually I do believe his best position will be right side centre half, but stepping out, joining in, David Luiz style, but with a bit more discipline. I really do see that as you know, I see that as he likes adventure.
Yeah.
You know, he's a defender that likes adventure, but there's risk and reward, and I think that Stonesy will understand that. But you know, we're talking about not just one of the top English players, we're talking about a top English kid here.
And just finally going back to Bury, Craig Jones back last week, obviously one of your better performers last year as well. That must be a big bonus.
It's a big boost, you know. He's Jonah, the energy he displays, and that's potentially why he picks up the injuries he does. You know, he's all out, he's all action. I might have to potentially slow him down a little bit, you know, and maybe dictate his training program a little bit. It's something we're looking into. You know, I'm not too sure if he can do, you know, 4 really tough training days and then have that massive impact on a Saturday. So it's something we're looking at. I had to do it with Dave Perkins, who we've worked a lot with. Almost Perks, you're not training today, you know, and take him out of the programme so you get that massive energy on a Saturday, which Jonah displays. But again, went to Man United yesterday, set a goal up, and you know they couldn't handle his pace at times. So you know, Jonah's great to have back, and he got through a big shift on Saturday and a good shift yesterday. So now it's pleasing to have Jonah back. We've got to make sure as a football club we look after him and get him out there as often as we can.
Joe Thompson play yesterday because he was...
No, he didn't. No, he had his back spasm, so we're working on that. I said it a few weeks ago, with Joe it might be a good thing, you know, his body's took one hell of a whack, and to have him just to come out of it a little bit might have just re-energised his body to maybe go again. The pre-season for Joe was mentally and physically as tough as anything that he's ever sort of fought in football. So you know, Joe's finding out about himself, we're finding out more about Joe and what we can stretch him to. But it was never going to be a quick fix, and we never saw it like that when we signed Joe. This was giving him a home to recover, to try and get him up to that place where I know he can, you know, where he was outstripping and outperforming in League One.
Was it a full-on practice game against United, was it? Or more of a post-training session type thing? Or? Well,
what they've got all the belts and they've got the cameras up. Yeah. They've got a phenomenal system, analysis system, so that we did it on the main pitch, right. At Man United, the first team pitch, Carrington. So they will, you know, they wanted a game that would tax them. You know, Herrera playing Anderson playing, Will Keane playing, Rhys James playing. There was a lovely flavour of players, and we had to be at our best, you know. Solzy and Raphael had one hell of a tussle in a battle, but it gives you, you know, it really does give you a stimulus. So that our lads performed incredibly. It was brilliant. But no, we didn't hold back. They didn't hold back, and it was a real high intensity training session.
Was it all the first teamers that were there at United at the time that were playing? You know, the lads who weren't on international duty, obviously. Was it everyone who's about who was playing?
Yeah, they've got obviously within Man United they've got different sections and different coaches. So some were doing fitness work, some were doing catch-up work. The lads probably who'd not got more game time played against us. It was fantastic. It really was. Lucky to have that opportunity.
What was the score?
We got beat 4-2.
Right.
Beat 4-2. Danny Rose got 2. Danny Rose got 2. Looked lively, looked sharp, looked dangerous in the box. Yeah, it was good. Great
for your lads to sort of see how United work and also pit the wits against them, wasn't it?
It's just it's how you're inspired. The old building, the old professionalism, the everything about the place. It's a centre of excellence, you know, and that's what they've built. That's what obviously Sir Alex Ferguson's legacy is. You know, we watched 2 or 3 groups train before that. You got a coach in there, Warren Joyce, who, wow, you know, he's kept to his same principles: hard work, endeavour, runability, and just to see his boys training. You know, the best players in the world, they don't have a day off. They don't have a day off. They don't want a day off. If they're going to sprint, they're going to sprint. If they're going to pass, they're going to pass with excellence. So you see all that. If you're there and you can be at Carrington for 5 hours and not learn anything, but you can be at Carrington for 5 hours and take a lifetime's work out of it, which is what I told my coaches to do. Go and absorb and learn from the environment, and they're the best at what they do. They had all the staff out there, but you know, Nicky Butt was out there, Ryan Giggs was out there, all the coaches, the strength conditioning coach, the fitness coaches, the sports scientists, because that's what it means to them. Everyone matters inside Carrington, so that was good.
And you were able to sort of bump a few ideas around with some of their coaches, were you?
Without a doubt, you know, that's what we do. That's you know, that's what the days are built for. Burnley come here last week. We went over to Wigan the week before, and they're good games for the players. But you know, I tell my coaches that, you know, go and grab some ideas and pin. You know, I think coaches are football thieves. You know, you try and take the best out of what you learn, and that's what we're trying to do.
Was Van Gaal knocking around as well? Or
no, he wasn't. No. I think he was over, you know, watching some games and players, and on, you know, with the international duty, watching some live football. But there was a good representation, well, there was an incredible representation of Man United people there.
I was going to say, not a few bad coaches there, Nicky Butt, Ryan Giggs and stuff like that. People you can bump a few ideas around with.
They're the best at what they do, aren't they? You know, like I said, the old place is inspirational. So it was good.